Okay.
Hello and welcome to another session of the Professor Joy podcast. It's great to see everybody. Steffi, hello, welcome back.
Thank you.
Professor Joy, you're looking very natty today.
Thank you.
I hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah.
So, I would like to start out today with a little question. Around this time of year, when we're doing this podcast and everything, and when you go to department like that, there's usually somebody standing outside of the grocery store ringing a bell, and they're dressed in red, and there's usually a little pot right next to the person, and it's most likely the Salvation Army.
Right.
And Christmas time is a great time for donating and helping out some very worthy causes. Professor Joy, you are very, very charitable with what you do, and I know that those organizations are so appreciative of what you do. So here's my question, Steffi, Professor Joy, you ready?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
How much in the year 2022 did Americans give to charity? And I'll tell you, it's in the millions of dollars. So, Stephanie, what do you think? How much in millions of dollars did Americans give to charitable causes in 2022?
I think it would have to get a couple of hundred.
Couple $100 million. Professor Joy, do you have an estimate, do you think?
500.
500. Hello, Dennis. Do you have an estimate on how much Americans gave to charity in 2022?
Haven't got a clue.
Professor Joy, you were right on the money. $499.3 million. And believe it or not, that was a decrease from 2021. It fell 3.4%. Adjusted for inflation, that's a 10% decrease in giving.
Very correlated to a percentage of increase in everyone's cost of living. Right.
Very true. And this is according to Giving USA. Americans in 2022, everybody, gave 1.7% of their personal disposable income in 2022. And everybody, that was the lowest since 1955.
Really?
Yes, the lowest since 1955. And 2023 is on target, from what I saw, to be even lower than what it was in 2022.
That's interesting. I thought it could be or better, but it's not.
But I think there's a lot of things that play into it. Why the decrease? We had rising interest rates and things, just food costs more,
Okay, so
things like that. Like you were saying, Dennis, there's
well, inflation obviously plays a big role in it. The cost of everybody's living, families have greater costs, and supporting your kids, providing shelter, buying food, transportation, etc. Bites into it.
yeah.
It's just a factor of economics.
I know oftentimes with the JoyScore app, we talk about mind and health and success. Um, and so it's interesting to look into the relationship between giving and and joy. And there is some scientific research that goes into that relationship of there is a direct relationship between giving and your sense of joy. Um, it's characterized by a positive and fulfilling connection. You get a sense of joy and satisfaction when you engage in the act of giving. And the act of giving doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. It can be giving of your time.
Act of kindness.
Absolutely. Giving of your time. letting somebody get in front of you in the grocery store line because they only have one or two items and you have a basket full, or helping somebody open a door. I mean, those are all acts of giving, and they do give you a sense of joy. Would you not agree, Professor
The
Joy?
highest level of joy comes from acts of kindness, because we've been researching it and we realized, and we talked about it. In fact, our app, which is called Joy Story, was originally developed to be an app which allows people to have videos, stories, things to say about acts of kindness. And that was like the idea was behind it, to inspire others with your acts of kindness. Because there's so many different realities in life, what we do. And I was telling Dennis that this morning before I broke my leg, all I cared about was myself and my family. And then I said, this is crazy. This is insanity. So act of kindness giving is the highest level of joy that you get out.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the factors that go into this relationship and everything. Number one, altruism and empathy. Giving is often driven by a sense of empathy and a desire to help others. When individuals connect with the needs and well-being of others, the act of giving can lead to feelings of joy and fulfillment. Number two, a sense of purpose. Engaging in these acts of generosity provide individuals with a sense of purpose and meaning. As you well know, because you do a lot of charity work in our community here. Um, Knowing that one can make a positive impact on someone else's life can contribute to a deep sense of satisfaction and joy. Can you discuss just a little bit who around the area you feel is deserving of your empathy and
Well, the organizations that I support, there's a reason behind why I support them. The, my most valued charitable organization is called Precious Lamb. Now, Precious Lamb takes care of or helps children born to homeless mothers. So I find that they are in the most difficult situation of others. Like I also, my heart goes out to all homeless people, man or woman, but especially the women with children. It really makes it very difficult for them to handle the pain of seeing a child not be able to progress or have a life that they deserve. I mean, I have some philosophical differences, views. Why should homeless mothers be having children?
right?
It's obviously it's a recipe for disaster to start with. What if Precious Lamb could? Precious Lamb can only handle so many people because
Right.
we only have so much donation budget.
And space
Yeah,
also.
exactly. So we're limited in terms of
Yes.
what we do. And the same thing goes to homeless mission, which is called Long Beach Rescue Mission. And the third one comes, which also is children, which is Ronald McDonald House, which is supporting parents whose children are in the hospital
Right.
and they have no place to be close to the children, to the hospital. So the Ronald McDonald House is across the street.
Yeah. Those are three great.
The fourth one is predominantly in India. It's called Akshay Patra,
Oh,
which they serve 2 million meals a day, fresh, hot meals. And I am so impressed with what they have done. They have created kitchens all over where they cook the food, and they have special trucks which take the food to the locations they need to deliver warm at a certain temperature. So they have beautifully designed the whole system. And they provide 2 million meals to school children a day, which is
Amazing.
phenomenal. So that's what, and this is not where I'm going to limit. I'm just saying this is where I am.
Right.
And
Right.
I have pledged over 50% of everything I have come to charity. I mean, assets. So that's what I'm doing. And the funny thing is that ever since I made that decision, I just feel happier. It's like the load of my shoulders is taken off.
So one of the relationship um, concerns is that there are neurological and psychological factors
Right.
in giving, and the release of dopamine, for
Absolutely.
example,
Absolutely.
which is associated with pleasure and reward. There's cultural and societal norms where generosity and altruism are highly valued virtues. And when you adhere to these cultural norms, you may experience a sense of joy and social approval when engaging in these acts of giving. Um, so yeah, so there's so many positive things associated with that relationship between giving, and as I said again, it's not just of money, but of your time as well.
The a few weeks now, we have been talking about self-fulfillment as a even better goal in life than success. So um, the levels of achievement, one could say, like you achieve a financial goal or goal that you have in mind, which makes you feel you have succeeded. And then self-fulfillment, where you feel, like you were saying, you have a life, purpose in life, meaning in life, self-fulfillment. So, and John calls JoyScore as my digital copy.
Still do.
But the thing which I realize that more and more when I think about the capacity to first to be able to give up earning money. Earning money, by the way, before I broke my leg, I didn't know anything except making money. That's all I knew. And that's all I did. And when I broke my leg, I realized that what I was doing was insanity, because you can't take it with you, no matter how much money you make or have. So then my focus in life changes to help others with joy, things like that, writing the book and on and on, developing an app. But now that I have decided to give up most of the stuff I had, not more than half of it, and I may keep going up, because as I reach the end of my life, I would like to give it all of it. But the thing I realize that I feel more fulfilled and find higher purpose in life when I do that. Because I didn't find any meaning and purpose in life when I was making money.
But weren't you making the money though to support your family?
Yeah,
I mean, wasn't that one of your sole
absolutely.
purposes and everything for your bike accident?
Yeah, but I had already made much more than I needed to support my family.
So you felt good in that regard.
Yeah, I had taken care of that years ago before that. But the thing was that that's what I knew. It's like once you start speeding and start driving around fast, you just get used to driving around fast. So I was in a fast lane.
Wow. John, I wonder if you might be able to speak a little bit to that relationship of joy and giving.
Sure, I think you need to add a little color to this too. The the number you used of charitable giving on an individual basis was all under $500 million last year in 2022.
Right.
However, corporations gave 2.1 billion. So charitable giving in the United States, adding the two together, was almost 2.5 billion.
But
The other thing
but
is,
John, was the corporation giving, was that an increase or a decrease from the previous year?
I can't tell you that. I certainly can get it for you, but I just know from another uh, essay that I was helping somebody with that the corporation giving in 2022 was a little over 2 billion.
Wow.
So I don't
And I
know.
also know that I believe it excludes the big giving of people like Buffett and some of
Yeah,
the multi-billionaires who
yeah,
donate their 100 million a year.
yeah, that was years ago. In fact, I don't remember which year it was that Warren Buffett decided to give away 99% of his wealth.
Right.
And then he goes to Bill Gates. I said, listen, I'm giving away 99% of my wealth. What are you going to do? And he kind of scratched his head.
Well, I mean, like, Bill Gates, he gives away, and his ex-wife
Yeah.
does
So
a
he
lot of
also
donating
pretty
also.
much decided to give most of it away to charitable causes. The one percenters have to give away. I mean, they really do to be able to survive taxation. No, no, that's not true. Because Jeff Bezos, out of, like we're talking of rich people in the world, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos doesn't give a dime. I mean, he may, but very little. But the big names when it comes to giving is Warren Buffett and Bill Gates are the big names. And then this is the interesting part, and I want you to all guess something for me. So then they went around knocking on doors of all the big billionaires, saying the same thing. Well, I'm giving most of it away. What are you planning to do? A lot of people supported them. And in that year, by the end of the year, I want you to imagine how much money they had in this charitable trillions. Huh? Trillions.
5 billion.
1 trillion.
No.
1 trillion.
1 trillion is 1,000 billion.
Mm.
That's crazy. Wow.
I mean, we are talking about in 22, it's 2.5 billion. And these guys rounded up $1 trillion.
Wow.
And this is $1 trillion is bigger than some of the countries'
Gross national
gross
product.
national product.
Yeah.
So, these are the things which, to me at least, are mind-boggling. And some of those things are the ones which inspired me to do it on a very small scale, my own. I also have this idea in mind where it's still in the process of being established, and we're using Long Beach Community Foundation to keep the money and set up the account and all that. But once it's all said and done, I plan to go knock on all the doors of billionaires and celebrities and tell them, say, hey, that's what I'm doing. Just like Warren Buffett.
Right.
What are you willing to do?
If you to put a little color to this too,
Yeah.
it'd be an interesting question.
Right.
You get a lot of, quite frankly, joy out of giving.
Right.
The question is, does Buffett or does Gates get a lot of joy out of giving, or do they get headlines? It's an interesting, compelling question. plus, when you go back to another issue about individuals giving and the pots outside stores and that, it's interesting because it'd be worth researching someday how much of our giving is really determined by how much the IRS allows you to take as a charitable deduction without any detail. Today it's about $250 or something. Think about if they raised that to $1,000, that you could deduct $1,000. Now, how many people would really give? That's a good question.
Right.
But still, there's the issue that when you give in those places like that, sometimes it's difficult to get receipts and all the other things. So you give $5 instead of $100. But I think I do believe that the whole question of where choice for and how we try to see and drive self-fulfillment, gratitude becomes a portion of self-fulfillment. And the question is, and giving would become a major attribute of choice for a message like that continuously with what we're trying to do.
Right.
And I think it's been a challenge in society to create that sense of giving. Um, it occurs at holidays and certain times of the year, and then the big people, the billionaires, declare these big contributions to charity. But is it all for joy, or is it kind of headline grabbing, or are there other legal reasons for doing it?
Well, I want to speak to it a little bit because as much as I have watched, especially Warren Buffett, he is perhaps the most successful investor who has made money. Very smart. He knows where to put his money for good returns. So, and I can speak about it because I was myself part of that insanity where you make money, but you don't know why you're making so much money. But it becomes a challenge.
Right.
That's what you have to do. Every day you have to make a lot of money. And then when he decided that he was going to give 1% to his son and his family, stuff like that, and give away 99%. And my question was, why were you making so much money? I mean, what was the motivation behind it? So now John's question, was it he was giving away 99% to grab headlines? I don't think so.
I don't either, because I don't really remember
No,
seeing all the different headlines.
not Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, because these people already have all the headlines they can have.
Right.
But the point is that irrespective of what the motivation is, I think giving brings people joy because you're parting with something you own, and that is an act of kindness. When you say, "Well, here is something I have, but I'm going to give it away," that to me is an act of kindness.
Right. And I think, we talk about the mind, health, success triangle and everything, and giving hits all of those,
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
And so here's some specifics because I alluded to the scientific research that has been done. So here's a study that was done in 2007. The bottom line of the research, Professor Joy, is that researchers found that when individuals made decisions to give to charities, there was increased activity, and this was done with neuroimaging. There was increased activity in the reward center of the brain, specifically the ventral striatum. And this suggested that the act of giving is linked to feelings of reward and pleasure.
Which makes endorphins, by the way.
Right.
So we attended the Precious Lambs
Right.
fundraiser thing, and I saw a lot of people actively contributing and giving to the cause. And in doing so, and being part of that whole event, I mean, there were momentary feelings of joy, absolutely, in doing what they were doing. And, there was community, like everybody communed to get together to raise funds for this organization. And there was a feeling of goodness about it, a feeling of joy, right?
Absolutely. In fact, there was a friend of mine who I have known for a long time, and his wife pledged, I don't remember how much, but I was really surprised, because they are, I would not have imagined them to pledge, but they did, the wife did. And I was really surprised. But that brought her joy.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. In 2013, here's the second study I wanted to bring up. This study examined the relationship between spending money on others and well being across diverse cultures. And the findings indicated that individuals who reported spending money on others experienced higher levels of happiness than those who spent money on themselves.
Ah,
Study number 3 in 2008. The researchers conducted experiments to investigate the impact of spending money on others versus oneself on happiness. Participants who were assigned to spend money on others reported higher levels of happiness than those who spent money on themselves. So, just piggybacking on the other study. The final one um, found that engaging in pro social behaviors, including acts of kindness and giving, was positively associated with happiness. The researchers suggested that contributing to the well being of others may be a source of joy.
absolutely. You know, this reminds me of something happened to right here in Signal Hill. There's a school here, in, in Walnut, in Fifth or something, Signal Hill Elementary School. So my wife, and we have had business in Signal Hill for a long time, so she went and talked to them and asked the counselor if she could give her some names of families who need help during Christmas. So she'll go out and she'll get a list and she'll go out and shop for them, then gift wrap them and all that stuff. So at home in the living room, we have a lot of gifts and wraps, and kids would complain and say, "Mom, so many gifts that we only get one." But one family, she must have helped them for many years. And she did it anonymously. Like, she didn't want anyone to know who was doing it. So one day the counselor called her up and said, "Listen, there's a family helping for years. They want to meet." And she said, "Well, I'm not comfortable with it." I said, "No, they have requested." So she asked me, I said, "What are they going to do? They're not going to hurt you." I mean, they want to maybe thank you in person. And she said, "Okay, I'll meet with them." So she goes there and meets with them. The whole family came. This family has been working on a quilt. The whole family every year put together little pieces of this quilt. And it was an amazing piece of art. The whole family did it as a gift to her.
Amazing.
I mean, it's an unbelievable piece of art. The whole family did it. It's not just somebody in the family did. No, everybody in the family did.
They gave back what they were able
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
So that was so touching. I mean, at the same token, like you talk about, some people get something around Christmas or whatever holiday, and they don't pay attention to it. But then others are so appreciative of the fact that someone thought of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're both ways. The two ways.
Right. And I mean, how do you put a price on that quilt
Absolutely.
with the
It's
hours that they,
priceless.
Yeah.
The
it
quilt
is.
priceless.
Yes. Yes. So that wraps up another episode of the Professor Joy podcast.
Thank you.
Get out there and give. Have joy.
This is the month.
Yes. This is,
Actually, it doesn't have to be
it
this
doesn't have to
month.
be a month.
Any time is good to give.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you watch us on YouTube. And we're on all the apps. Please join us on JoyScore. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.